Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today I would like to show you how to create multi-authentication in Laravel 8, which would work with Laravel Breeze, Laravel Jetstream, or Laravel Fortify as well. So basically you would have users with different roles in your application. One user is an admin role, and the second user, for example, a student or teacher or blog writer. So you can give different roles for different users in your applications, and they can visit different pages, different views in your application. Okay, so basically, in my case, I created a three type of users: admin, blog writer, and a simple user. So if we are logging as an admin, okay, so now we are logged in and we are seeing the dashboard for admin, and you are logged in as an admin. We don't have any menu item because I haven't created. You could create as many menu items for admins as you want, and you can show them whatever you want here. Nobody else could see this dashboard except users with role with admins. And as you can see, we are on a dashboard route. If we are log out and let's create a new user. I use fake filler here. And let's create just a blog writer for now. As you can see, we are again on the dashboard route, but we can see the dashboard for blog writer, and you are logged in as a blog writer, and we have a new menu item here, create a new blog post, for example, and we can visit this dashboard / post create route. And here would be, of course, some type of form to create a new blog post, but I haven't created for this tutorial. Now let's create just a simple user. Okay, now we want to create a simple user. And as you can see, we are again on the dashboard page, dashboard route, but we see different views now. We see the views for users. So this is the dashboard for user, and we can see a different menu item here. We are not able to see the create a new blog post, but we have my profile, for example, and we can see our name and our email address. And we are not able to visit the post create route. So post create 403. So we don't have any access to visit this page, and you can customize any error message you wish. Okay, so that's it. First of all, please hit the like button if you like this content and you find it useful, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet. And let's get started. So first of all, let's create a new Laravel application. I will create a Laravel Breeze application, but as I just mentioned, it would work with Laravel Jetstream or Laravel Fortify as well. Okay, so let's go to the command line, and I use a Laravel new, and my application name, it will be multi-auth. And while it's installing our new application, let's create a database for this project. So I'm going to MySQL, and hit new. And I'm gonna name exactly the same as I named my Laravel project, so multi-auth. And I select UTF-8 MB for Unicode CI. Hit create, so our database is ready. Right, so our new application has been created. Now let's cd inside into its folder. So cd multi-auth. And now we inside this newly created project, and let's continue with PHP artisan migrate command. Paste. Right, migration is done. And now let's require our Laravel Breeze. So composer require Laravel Breeze --dev. Okay, now we need to install Laravel Breeze. That's done as well. Now we need to do the npm install and npm run dev commands. So just copy this, paste down here. Right, that's done as well. Now let's run our server. So PHP artisan serve. Now we can open our project on this address. Here you go. So we have a freshly installed LAravel Breeze application ready to go. Let's open it in our VS Code. Right, so I open my project in VS Code and our server is running as well. So let's open up one more command line because we need to use another command line. So as I mentioned, we will use Laratrust. It's a role-based access control package for Laravel. It's very useful if you would like to create multi-authenticated Laravel applications. So basically, you will have users with different roles in your applications. So let's say you will have a user with admin permissions. The other user will have, for example, only teachers permissions. And they can access different pages on your website and they have different rights in your applications. Okay, so it's a very useful package for multi-auth Laravel applications. And as you can see, it's compatible with Laravel 8 as well. So let's click on Get Started. And here you have the installation. Let's do the very first command, composer require Laratrust. So let's go to this command line, paste it here. Right, next we need to publish our Laratrust files as well. Right, it's published now. Okay, next is PHP Artisan Laratrust setup. Type in yes. That's done as well. Okay, and just before we would run the migration, let's go to the usage and Cedar. And we would like to run the PHP Artisan Laratrust Cedar as well. Right, let's publish this Cedar files. Okay, let's do the composer dump autoload as well. And now we need to copy and paste this command into the database seed folder and database cedar.php file. So let's copy this command and go to VS Code. And we have to open the database folder cedars and database cedar.php. Let's delete this line from here and paste our code as well. Let's save it. We can close this up. Okay. And just before we would run the migration and the Cedar, I would like to show to you how you can set up your different roles in your application with the Cedar. So if you go to the config folder and if you go to the Laratrust Cedar, as you can see, by default, you would have 4 different user roles, user types. So you would have super administrator, administrator, user, and this would be for you. So you could customize it as well, but you could customize any of these. So for example, you could have admin in your application, and you could have just a simple user. So you would be the admin and you would have a user in your application, or you could have teacher and student roles. So you could give them different access to your applications. So you have to set up everything here if you want to. So let's say you would have a blog posting website. You would have an admin, like you would be the admin, and you would have blog writers, let's say. So let's say you would have blog writer role, and you would have simple users who who are reading your blog post. Okay, so in this application, I will have an admin, a blog writer, and a simple user with different permissions in my application. So let's jump back to our Laratrust website and go back to the installation. And the last part was the PHP artisan migrate. Now let's do the migration. Right, so we have created the Laratrust tables in our database. Let's have a look. If we hit refresh and we select our multi-auth table, as you can see, we have user, roles, and permissions as well. So you could see all the Laratrust tables here, but all of them is empty at the moment. But I want to see the admin, blog writer, and the user. So I seed them by default. In order to do that, we need to use PHP artisan db seed command. And as you can see, we have seeded our database. Let's hit refresh. Okay, and if we are going to the roles, you can see we have admin, blog writer, and user, and we also have a display name of them. So this is basically for the application, the ID and the name, and this is to display if you have, for example, a control panel or something like that. Okay, so basically we have the 3 different type of roles, and by default, now let's do every user who register on our website, we want to make them as a simple user. So no permissions to any other pages, and no, basically no extra permissions, just a simple user. In order to do that, we need to assign a role to every user who register on our website. If you go back to the Laratrust homepage, you will see roles and permissions. And if you scroll down, you will see user roles, assignments, and removals, and you have to select the assignment. So basically, this is the only piece of code we need for now. Let's copy this code and go back to VS Code. And if we are going to the app folder, HTTP, and controllers, Auth, and the registered user controller, if we are scrolling down, this is where we validate the new users data, and that's where we create a new user in our application. So just under this user creation, we paste our code from Laratrust website. So basically we create a user and we attach a role to this new user, and you can attach a role to them by type in what type of role you would like to assign them. So you could use user, or you could use the ID of the role in the database. So if you go to the database, you can see the name is user. So this, as you can see, this is different from the display name. We have to use this user, or you can use the ID number 3, or if you want a blog writer by default, every user who registers on your website, then you need to type in blog writer here, or the blog writer ID, which is number 2. But at the moment, I want every user who registers on our website just a simple user. So I type in user. But as I just mentioned, I could type in number 3 here as well. It would work. Okay, so now if we create a new user, Laratrust will automatically assign a role for them, and they will be user in our application, just a simple user. Let's hit refresh, and if we are going to register, I will use fake filler, hit register. Okay, so we are signed in, and if we are check our database, we should see our first user with a role ID number 3. So if you are go to the role underscore user table, as you can see, we have the very first user with a role ID number 3. So basically they are a simple user. Okay, so let's log out now. And let's take it one step further. Let's say you want the registration page a bit more complicated. So we will have a select option here. The user who registered on our website could select if they want to be a blog writer or just a simple user. So let's create this drop-down select. As I already created this project for a preparation, I just copy and paste the code and I explain it what we are doing. Okay, so let's go back to VS Code and let's go for the registration form, which is inside the resources folder, views and auth and register.blade.php. And if you scroll down, you will see the name, email address, password, just we have here. So under the password confirmation, we will create a select dropdown. Password confirmation, and just under this line, we will create this select option role type. So we would have a label, register as, and we would have a name of this field, role ID. And we have two options. One of them is a user with a value of user. And the second one is a blog writer with a value of blog writer. So these values are coming from our database. Basically, if you go to the roles, this is what we can give in, or I could give the ID of the role as well. But I just typed in user and blog writer. As you can see, user and blog writer. Okay, so now we have the drop-down select option. If we go back to our application and hit refresh, as you can see, in our application form, we have the user and the blog writer now. Okay, so in order to save this and assign a user to the selected type of role, we need to save it as well. So let's go back to the VS Code. So as you can see, this select option has a name, a role ID. So basically we need to catch this role ID and we have to save it in a database. So let's go back for the registration controller, which is inside the app folder, HTTP controllers, authentication, and registered user controller. And instead of hard coding the default type of the user role, we want to catch that request role ID, which is coming from our form. Okay, so basically we will attach a role to the user based on their selection on the form. Hit refresh. Use the fake filler. So our second user will be a blog writer. Hit register. Okay, we logged in. Let's check our database. So the blog writer ID is number 2. So let's check role users. Our second user is a blog writer, has a blog writer role. Okay, let's test this out with a simple user again, quickly. Register, fake filler. Instead of blog writer, we want the user now, just a simple user. Let's check our database. And as you can see, our third user is a simple user again, just like our first user we have created. Okay, now let's take it one step further. And we will use the same route for every user when they log in, but we will show the different page with different menu items for them. So how to do that? We need to create a route and the dashboard controller. For this purpose, again, as I mentioned, I already created this project, so I will copy and paste so I speed up this tutorial. I don't want to waste your time. So we have to go to the routes folder and the web.php. And this is our dashboard route at the moment, but we will switch it. Okay, so instead of this, we will use this route. So we will group a route. So we will have a middleware. So the user has to be authenticated. This is the only thing we need to take care. So the user has to be authenticated. So if the user is a guest user, they cannot visit the dashboard page. And every user who register or log in will be redirected to the /dashboard route. And we will use the dashboard controller index method to show them a view. So let's create this dashboard controller with this index method. So let's go to our command line again and use PHP artisan make controller dashboard controller. Okay, hit enter, and our controller is ready. So we have this dashboard controller now in our app HTTP controllers folder, and we need to create this index method. So let's go for the dashboard controller, which is inside the app HTTP controllers. And as you can see, we have this dashboard controller. And now let's create that index method. So public function index. Okay, so now we would like to decide if the user is just a simple user or a blog writer, because we want to show them a different page. We want to show a different page for a blog writer and a different page for the simple user. Okay, so we need an if statement here. And we have to check the authenticated user role. What is the authenticated user role? Okay, and we will use a Laratrust helper here. That's why it's so easy to implement with Laratrust, these things. If you go to the usage and checking for roles and permissions, if you hit click on it, as you can see, the very first we can check the user has a role and you have to type in the role type. So in my case will be blog writer and user, or it could be admin in my case. So we need this has role and what we want to check. And it will give us a false or true value back. Okay, so let's go back to the VS Code and check and use this helper has role. And let's say if the user is a simple user, then we want to show them a view. Else if. Let's check again our authenticated user if a blog writer at this time. So if they are a blog writer, we want to return them a view. We haven't created any view for them just yet. And let's see if our user is, for example, an admin. So let's create one more else if. And let's copy and paste all this code again. And we want to check if they are admin. And we want to show them, for example, we would like to show them for every admin, we would like to show the dashboard page or dashboard view. For users, we would like to show them user dashboard. And for blog writer, we would like to show them the blog writer dash. Okay, so we already have the dashboard view. If you go to the resources folder and views, we already have the dashboard. So let's copy and create a new view for users. So the user will see the user dashboard. So let's create that view. Okay, we would like to make them inside the views folder, and we will call it user dash.blade.php, and I paste the dashboard code here, And let's create one more view for our blog writer dash blog writers. It will be called blog writer dash. Okay, so if we are going to views, new file, .blade.php, and paste again. Okay, so it will be dashboard for blog writer. You are logged in as a blog writer. Dashboard for admin. And you are logged in as an admin. And dashboard for user, and you are logged in as a user. Okay, so we have different views for different users. We have views for admins, blog writers, and users. We have created the controller to check them, what they are exactly, and we have to import the authenticated class. So let's do that. So make sure you would have the same line of code in your file as well, so we can use this class. Okay, everything is saved. Let's test this out. We have to log out and register a new user. Use the fake filler. Okay, now we will create a blog writer. So we should see a blog writer dashboard. Register. Okay, and I have a typo, I think. I have another typo here as well. Hit refresh. And yeah, we are seeing the dashboard for blog writers. So basically we are not able to visit our users dashboard at all because we are using the same route, but we are showing a different view for different users. So let's log out and hit register, fake filler, and now let's create a user. And we are seeing the dashboard for user, and we are logged in as a user. Now let's create a admin, for example. In order to do that, we just using a hard-coded way, basically. So if we are going to the register controller, yeah, we hard coding. We want to create one admin. So you can use number 1 or you can type in admin, but not both. Right, and let's just create one admin user as well. Register. And it doesn't matter what we are selecting because we hard-coded that it has to be an admin. So hit register. And dashboard, yeah, I have a typo again. What a surprise. We missing ED, dashboard. Hit refresh, it should be logged in as an admin. You are logged in as an admin. So basically we are seeing the same route with different view. Let's log out now. And let's turn back because by default, we don't want the user to be registered as an admin, so we will use their selections from the registration form. Okay, so we have now one admin, and that's it. The other users who are registering, they have to select either the user or the blog writer role. Right, but now I would like to show the user and the blog writer different menu item on the top. So let's just create one more user. So for example, for the user, I would like to show a menu item here, up here, my profile. So let's just do that. In order to do, we need to find this menu in our application. which is inside the resources, views, and layout and navigation. And you will see the dashboard here, which is this menu item. So now let's create one more. And let's say we want a dashboard slash my profile. Same here. And let's name it my profile. Okay, so of course we don't have this route yet. So probably it would be through an error for us. Exactly, our route doesn't exist yet, so we have to create this route, but we want to specify that this route is only viewable and visitable for only roles with users. Okay, so let's go to our route folder and web.php, and let's create one more route for users profile. So these routes will be only for users. So let's say if you have different pages for users, so edit profile, show my profile, or stuff like that, you don't have to group them again. The route automatically will be checked if the user is authenticated and has a role called user. Okay, so the route will be dashboard slash my profile, name my profile. Okay, so basically inside the dashboard controller, we need to create one more method called my profile, but it will be only visible for users. Okay, so public function my profile. And we want to return a view for them. And let's call it my profile view. So we need to create this view. So let's go to the resources views folder. And let's create this blade file. Okay, just for simplicity, users dashboard. Let's copy this users dashboard and let's paste it here. So dashboard for user, and you are logged in as a user, and let's say we want to show them their name or their email address and stuff like that. So we can use the authenticated user here again. Name, and let's say you want to show them their email address as well. Same again, but at this time we want to show them their email. Okay, so this is only for users. Hit refresh now. Okay, so we can see my profile. We are on the dashboard page for users, and if we click on my profile, as you can see, we are still logged in as a user, and we can see our name and our email address as well. Okay, but we have one problem here. If we are logged out and we create a blog writer now, as you can see, we are logged in as a blog writer, but we can see the user's menu item here. But if we click on it, we don't have any access to check that page, because this page only visible for authenticated user who has a role ID or role user. So we get this 403 message. We don't have the necessary rights to visit that page. But of course, we don't want to show this menu item for blog writers or for admin because we are not able to visit them anymore. So there is no point to show them. So let's go back to our VS Code. And if we are going to the resources, views, layouts, and navigation.blade.php, let's create an if statement here. Okay, and we have to check if the authenticated user, and again we will use the Laratrust helper here, has role, and you can specify the, let's specify the use for user. X. Okay, so this will be only visible for only users. Let's try this. As you can see, it's disappeared already. What if we are allow the blog writers? As you can see, we are able to see the link again. We are, of course, not authorized to check that page, but we can see this link. So let's go back and set it to user. And let's create one more if statement for blog writers. So create a new blog post, let's say, and it's only visible for blog writers. And let's do dashboard post create. So under the dashboard / post create, we want to show them a form to create a new blog post, and it's only visible, this menu item, for blog writers. Let's do the route for that. Okay, copy this, paste here for blog writers. So the user has to be authenticated and the role has to be blog writer. Okay, and the route will be post create. Okay, and post create again. Right, now let's create this method inside the dashboard controller. So post create. Let's go to the dashboard controller, one more public function. Post create. And we want to return a view for them. Let's call it post create. And let's create this view, post create, inside the resources views folder. Post create.blade.php, hit enter, and let's just copy and paste from the blog writer. Where is this blog writer dashboard? To the post create view, and okay, so of course there would be some type of form to create a new blog post. Okay, so hit refresh. We can see the create a new blog post now, and we can visit this page. So it would be a form, of course. And of course, if we try to visit the My Profile for users, we have not able to visit that page because we don't have the access. And you can customize this message if you go to the config folder and laratrust.php, scroll down, and here is the error message if we don't have our necessary rights, so you can customize it. So you can customize it. If you want to. Hit refresh. And we have the new error message now. Okay, so that's it for today. Please like this video if you liked it, and please subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.